Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here with another episode of the Dong Report. Of course, the Dong Report being where I give out my favorite MLB home run predictions of the day. And as for today, we're going to do things a little bit differently. So I don't want to dilly-dally. I just want to get right into it. So traditionally, what I had been doing on the Dong Report is just finding three guys that I liked to hit a home run and putting between a half unit up to a full unit on all three of those guys, with the logic being if one of them hit, we will be profitable. That has mostly not been good. All in all, the Dong Report has not been good this year. We had some hot stretches here and there, but mostly been bad. But what I also had been doing separately, and those of you that follow me on Twitter can attest to this, is posting a round robin of an additional 7 guys that I liked to hit a home run that were an honorable mention that didn't quite make the Dong Report. What happened was the Dong Report was terrible and the round robin had been on fire. Again, those of you that follow me on Twitter can attest to that. So what we're going to be doing in this video, and what we're most likely going to be doing moving forward, is doing exactly that, a round robin. So I'm going to choose 7 guys that I like to hit a home run, and I'm going to put them in a round robin, with the logic being we only really need 2 of them to hit a home run in order to have some sort of profit. Obviously, that depends on the odds. The longer odds that hit, the better chance of being profitable, making more money. That's kind of what we're doing here. So for those of you that, again, that haven't been following me on Twitter, on the entire season, it's been bad. Down about 16 units, over 16 units on the Dong Report. The round robins, which I have been placing for the past month or so, up over 10 units on the round robins. They have been phenomenal. And kind of what kind of led me to this process is the fact that the round robins have been as good as they are. It leads me to believe that my process for choosing guys to hit a home run isn't terrible, right? I've just been getting really, really unlucky with the 3 official guys on the Dong Report. 3 guys on an entire MLB betting slate. It worked last year. It hasn't worked this year. I mean, even yesterday, we were up over, we were up almost 3 units on the round robin that we placed yesterday. We got 3 guys on the round robin to hit a home run. Of course, none of those 3 on the Dong Report didn't hit any, which is kind of how it goes. So that's what we're going to be doing moving forward, is placing these as a round robin. If you don't know what a round robin is, I detail it in the video that you see on the screen here, so I would recommend checking that out if you're not sure what a round robin is. And then the only thing that I will note is for a round robin is I place these on FanDuel, as FanDuel generally has the best odds across the board on guys to hit a home run. They're going to be individual players that are not best offered on FanDuel, but more often than not, they will be. And then the only other note is that if there are 2 guys on the same team, you want to place the round robin normally, and then you also have to go in and place those 2 guys separately. And I'll detail that when I get into it for today's video. But I know that was a lot. I apologize for the longer start. I just kind of wanted to detail what we're doing here. Obviously, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff does help me out a ton. But let's get right into today's Dong Robin, round doggin, which is what we're calling it. The first player they were putting in the round doggin is Brent Rooker. We're taking him to hit a home run. He is the lowest odds of any of the guys that we have to hit a home run. He's at 285 on FanDuel, and FanDuel is offering the best price there. But he has the lowest odds for good reason. Brent Rooker has just been absolutely incredibly on fire recently. He has, and for today, he has a really, really, really good matchup against a really bad Angels pitcher. So he's kind of still worth playing at these odds. Since June 1st, Rooker has hit 12 home runs. His ISO rate in that stretch, 30.8%. His barrel rate in that stretch, 20.4%. Almost a full 2-month stretch where he has been excellent in both ISO rate and barrel rate. But the biggest reason why we are on him today is he hits left-handed pitching significantly harder. His ISO rate on the entire year against lefties is 38.6%. That would be an ISO rate better than Aaron Judge. Basically saying against lefties, Brent Rooker is a better batter than Aaron Judge overall. Obviously, it's not quite that simple, but he just annihilates left-handed pitching. His ISO rate against righties, 26.2%, which is still a really good number, but from 26.2 to 38.6 is a massive, massive number. And not only is he facing a lefty tonight, but he's facing a terrible lefty pitcher in Kenny Rosenberg of the Angels. Now, Rosenberg, it's been 2 starts, so it is a small sample size, but he's gotten annihilated in those 2 starts, and his 2 most common pitches he throws are fastballs and sliders, throws them about 70% of the time. Rooker crushes fastballs, he crushes sliders. Let's hope he stays hot tonight, hitting one for us. Next up, we're taking Marcell Ozuna to hit a home run. He is also best offered at FanDuel, so we're not getting any discount, or we're not getting any worse odds by playing this on FanDuel for him specifically. And this is another perfect matchup when you specifically look into the batter versus pitcher pitch mix. Ozuna is going up against Luis Severino of the Mets, and 90% of what Severino throws, Ozuna, it's like his best pitches, just crushes them. And here are the 4 pitches, and I'll detail them. Severino throws a 4-seam fastball 35% of the time, a slider 22% of the time, a sinker 20% of the time, and a cutter 13% of the time. That is 89% of the pitches that Severino throws. Here are Ozuna's stats against those pitches. 4-seam fastball, ISO rate of 26.5%. Against the slider, 39.2% ISO rate. Against a sinker, 29.7%, and against the cutter, 38.1%. All 4 of those pitches, he has an ISO rate above excellent. So there's really no way for Severino to hide with any of these pitches that he throws against Ozuna. And Ozuna's just been really good overall. I mean, 28% ISO rate, 18.2% barrel rate, one of the rare batters that is excellent in both categories. So I love Ozuna to hit a home run. That's our second play. And then our next 2 are both going to be on the Orioles. So I'm just putting them, I'm going to talk about them together. We're talking Anthony Santander and we're talking Gunnar Henderson. I'm taking both of them to hit a home run. Now, Henderson is unfortunately one of the guys who are getting pretty worse odds on FanDuel, right? FanDuel is offering him in like the 390, I think, range. You can get him on Fanatics for 500. So there are certain players like that where if you just want to take a Gunner straight up, I wouldn't blame you. I'm just putting them all in a round robin on FanDuel, and that's how I'm tracking it. But I do want to just shout out situations where we're not getting the best odds on FanDuel. But the reason why we are diving in on 2 Orioles today, it's because they're going up against an awful, horrible, very bad, no good pitcher in Roddery Munoz of the Marlins. So really, this is going to be an all-you-can-dong buffet for guys on the Orioles. You know, I like these 2, Santander and Gunnar Henderson. If you want to take Ryan O'Hearn, if you want to take Adley Rutschman, if you want to take basically anybody on the Orioles, I'm not going to talk you out of it. Now, Munoz, the frustrating thing is I've targeted him twice when he played the Mets. Both times he had the game of his life. Literally his 2 best starts of the year came against the Mets, and I dove heavy on the Mets in both of those games. So if you ask me, he's the best pitcher in the MLB, but reality is, other than those 2 starts, he's been terrible, and he's been especially terrible against lefties, which is why I like targeting both Santander and Gunnar Henderson. Now, Santander, he's been on fire. I don't really need to talk you in to Santander. He's got 18 home runs since June 1st. He's just been amazing. He's also better when he's batting lefty going up against a right-handed pitcher, so we get an extra bonus for that. Gunnar Henderson is a little bit harder to sell. He's been cold recently. He hasn't hit a home run since the return from the All-Star break, and he was cold leading in to the All-Star break as well. But you look at the matchup here, perfect matchup for him to break out of that slump against Munoz, right? Ballpark Pal lists this as a +10 advantage in favor of Gunnar Henderson as the batter. Line Star is very heavy, very high on Gunnar Henderson to hit a home run as well. So I'm pretty confident that he's going to be able to break out of his slump, mash a monster dong for us. 3 left, so we have 4 down, 3 left. Next up, Luis Robert Jr. I'm taking him to hit a home run. He's going up against Max Scherzer, which might sound a little bit scary, but it's definitely not nearly as scary as it sounds. Scherzer, he's older. He's just not nearly as good. And he started off the year well when he first came back from injury, but it's not been good recently. And there's been some really scary reports about like having a dead arm and stuff. And it makes sense because he's gotten rocked in his last couple starts. 2 starts ago, he only made it 4 innings against the Astros. Last start against the Orioles, he was absolutely terrible, just got completely shelled. So it's not exactly a scary matchup going up against Max Scherzer for Luis Robert Jr. And Robert Jr., he's been great all year. Now, he missed 2 months at the beginning of the year due to injury, so he doesn't really come up on any qualified batter reports or anything like that. But he's having a really, really good year. Now, he is admittedly in the midst, or he was, I should say, in the midst of a colder streak. He didn't hit a home run in 9 straight games leading into the All-Star break and then the first couple games after the All-Star break, but he did hit one yesterday, crushed crushed a baseball with an exit velocity of 113 miles per hour. So hopefully he goes on a home run binge. He's been much better against right-handed pitching this year. If you look at his ISO rate, it's above 30% against righties, below 20% against lefties. So there is pretty dramatic splits there. Luis Robert Jr., let's hope he comes through for us. Next up, our second to last pick, Brandon Lowe to hit a home run. And now he is best offered at FanDuel. It's plus 400 odds if you want to take him separately on FanDuel. Again, I'm just putting all of these into the round robin, but just kind of trying to give you the odds whenever I can. Now, Brandon Lowe, it's been an interesting year for him. He had a colder start to the year, and then he also missed about 5 weeks due to injury. So if you look at his total stats, 12 home runs does not look that impressive. Similar to the rest of most of the guys that you hear me talking about, since June 1st, he's been awesome. He's hit 10 of his 12 home runs since June 1st. In that stretch, ISO rate of 27%, barrel rate of 18%. So he's been excellent in both of those categories. And he's been really, really good in what's been a lost year for the Rays. But I also really like the matchup that he has tonight going up against Chris Bassett of the Blue Jays. For starters, Brandon Lowe's a lefty, Chris Bassett is a righty. And as I'm sure you could have guessed, that's the type of handedness that you want to target for both of these. You want to target Brandon Lowe against a righty. You want to target Chris Bassett or you want to target a batter that is left-handed against Chris Bassett. Lowe has a hard hit rate. It increases by 6% against going from lefties to righties. It's 29.2% against lefties, up to 35.6% against righties. And then looking at Bassett, all three, hard hit rate, fly ball rate, pull rate, all three of them are higher against left-handed hitters. And the biggest one that I want to shout out here is his hard hit rate goes from 21.1% against right-handed batters all the way up to 40% against lefties. It's a massive difference in terms of the power and the hard hits that he gives up going up against a righty versus a lefty. So that's why I like backing Brandon Lowe, a lefty, mashing one for us tonight. That's our second to last pick. Now we got one more dong pick for you guys to lock in. Helio Ramos to hit a home run. He is best offered. So this is one of the ones similar to Gunnar Henderson where you're not getting the best odds at all on FanDuel. You can get him all the way up at plus 525 at BetMGM. He's priced in the plus 300s on FanDuel. So there is admittedly a dramatic difference with Helio Ramos specifically. So for him and Gunnar Henderson, if you just want to take them straight up, I wouldn't blame you. It's too confusing for me to tell people to do all this different stuff. So I am just putting him into the round robin, but I wouldn't blame you if you did want to just take him straight up. But for our last play of the day in Helio Ramos, we're betting on him to break out of his slump. He had, just an absurd stretch. It's been 9 straight games since he's hit a home run. Now, that was kind of to be expected because the stretch that he went on was crazy. He hit 12 home runs from June 2nd to July 11th. That's 5 weeks where he hit 12 home runs. So only natural for him to go on a little bit of a slump after that ridiculous of a stretch. Even the best batters in the MLB have stretches like this after they go on crazy heater stretches. So we're betting on him to break out of that tonight. And I think he's got a really good opportunity to do so. He's going up against Clayton Kershaw, who's making his season debut for the Dodgers. We have no idea, legitimately no idea what to expect from Kershaw. He's missed the entire year up until this point due to an injury. And the Kershaw that we have seen recently, just talking about last year, it's not the same Kershaw that we're used to seeing in his career. Last year, he posted his second worst home run per 9 in his entire career. And it's literally his first start back from a pretty serious injury. So he could have a dead arm or he could pitch a gem. We just don't know. I'm betting that he's not going to be as sharp as we normally expect to see from Kershaw, especially at this stage in his career. And Ramos is significantly better when he's facing left-handed pitching. His ISO rate against righties, 14.9%. His ISO rate against lefties, all the way up to 40, I don't know why I said that weird, up to 40.7%. Absurd difference going up against righties versus lefties, which gives him a great chance to break out of his slump tonight. And that's all we got. 7 players on Dong Watch for you guys to lock in via a round robin. Again, I play these by 2, and the total units risk, I try to make it just above 1 unit. So for me, 1 unit equals $100. I put $5 on every single one, or I put $5 on this round robin. It comes out to 1.05 units risk. So whatever a unit is for you, that's what you want to have total, a little bit over that risk via the total. So you need to just kind of play around with what you need to input on the round robin times 2 number to kind of get to whatever is about 1 unit, a little bit over 1 unit risk. But that's how I play these. It's going to be the same thing, hoping to get 7 guys on the round robin, always going to play them by 2. So it ends up being a little bit over 1 unit risk. So if we have a terrible day, we're only down a unit. And then we have days like yesterday, we were up 3 units. I mean, that funds us for 3 days on these round robins, on these round dongins. So hopefully we can get a couple of these guys to mash home runs for us tonight. That's all we got. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. Again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.